Carla here, and welcome to my masterclass on using Trello to build and maintain your business. So, for those of you who don't know what Trello is, it is a project management software that is primarily free. It does have a paid option as well, but it's basically an amazing tool for you. It's an amazing tool for you to grow your business. It's an amazing tool for you to get everything out of your head and onto a system that you can refer to and use to manage your time and to hold you accountable. Now, there are loads of project management software tools out there. What's important is that you choose the one that works best for you. When you make the choice, be consistent with it. So if you're using something else like Asana or Monday.com, stick with it. But if you choose to use Trello, be consistent, because consistency trumps absolutely everything. And Trello is an absolutely fantastic way of creating systems in your business, keeping you on track, building accountability, and we're going to go through some of those in the training. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to go to Trello.com, click on there, and as you'll see when it opens up, you get the option over here on the right hand side to log in or to sign up. And for today, we are going to sign up. Bear with me. So signing into Trello, continue, already have an account. So for sign up, I am going to use hello@orlab.com because I should not have an account under this. 2 seconds, yeah, enter full name. So you're going to enter your name and then you're going to create a password. I will obviously hide this password from you. And obviously making sure your password is memorable. It goes without saying, but also not using the same password for absolutely everything, so that if somebody managed to hack one of your passwords, they cannot hack them all. So, and like that, in a split second, we have created an account for Trello. Now, separately, you get here to save the password. Separately, it will ask me to confirm my email, which I will do separately when I log into my own email address. So when you first log in, you get seen with the home screen, welcome to Trello, and you can organize everything about. So it just gives you these hints and these tips, things to doing. So what you'll tend to find with these softwares is that they are absolutely user friendly. Excuse me. They will always give you suggestions and give you tips on how to use these items effectively, and that makes an absolutely huge difference. Okay, so we are ready to get started. So Trello, when we go back to the home page, is built on the idea of boards. So this is what your home page looks like, and it's built on the idea of boards. And what I'm going to show you today is how to create boards for all the different areas that are going to help you to grow your business. So we'll look at how to create boards for systems, for finances, for marketing, and for client details, etc. Now, there's no end in terms of how you can use this. I'm going to give you some suggestions and you're going to use it in a way that works for you. So let's get started and click on create a new board. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to name this board. So I'm going to name this board Goal for 2020, okay? And then we will have, the dates, January to March. So I'll click create board. Now, what you look underneath is you can create it private or you can create it public. For now, we'll create it private because we don't want anyone else seeing it. So let's click on create that board. And there we have, we're straight into this board. Now, the first thing that I like to do when I get into a board is I like to change the background. And the reason that I like to change the background is I like it to match what I'm doing. So I'm going to look in here about women having fun and see, do any photos crop up? So we've seen loads of examples there. So this is about goal setting. So I'm going to use this as my background, and you can have whatever background that you want. You can also have a plain color background. Choose whatever it is that works for you, but we will settle on a plain color background in this one. So what we have here is we have cards. So these things that go down here, and you can create a list and then add cards to your list. So we're going to create a list, and it's going to be If for those of you who've done our goal setting training, we're going to look at the 12-week sprint and goals, and then we're going to look at the key activities that we need to achieve, and then we're going to look at what we're going to do in January, and then we're going to look in February, and we're going to look at it in March. Now you see, all of a sudden it's so simple. So when we have these things here, you can scroll over and back using your slider at the bottom. So the 12-week sprint and goals. So let's think, what could you potentially put in your 12-week goals if you decided to do them from the 1st of January? You might have decided to start sooner, but what could you put in there? So it might be income of minimum. You know, I like to put a minimum. 5,000 per month. And when you create this card here, you can go in and you can edit it, right? You can go in by clicking on it, and you can go in and it gives you loads of options down here. You can add labels to it. So we can create a different label, and we might say that the green label is the money and finance goals, just to make it easier for you. And then we'll go save. So we've added a label to this. Yeah. So all of a sudden you can see that it's got a label, and when you come back here, you can see over here it's already got a green in it. So you can turn around and say consistently earn a minimum of 5k per month. Okay, save, and you can add a checklist in here, you can add a due date, you can add an attachment, but we're not going to do that just yet. We'll do that where it's slightly more appropriate to do that. Okay, so that's our save, and then we can come out of there. So income, and then we can look again, okay, what else do we want to add in our 12-week sprint? What other goals that we want to add? We can have a start a podcast. Okay, start a podcast and promote. No, we won't put a promote. We'll just say start a podcast. Again, we'll just click enter and it does that. So we click on it and we think, okay, what label is this going to have? So we're going to click another label. The yellow label is online marketing, because this would fall into our online marketing. Again, you choose the labels. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm just battling a cold here. You choose the labels that work best for you. So there we have it. And start a podcast. So I think I could have added 2 labels to that one, which I'm just going to make sure that I did not. Yes, I did. I made that the yellow label as well. So the online marketing is now blue. Okay, instead of yellow. So that's perfect. So income a minimum 5,000 per month. Start a podcast and build an online training program. Okay, that's our next goal. And when we look at this, when we come back in here to edit labels on this, we're going to add another label, and it's going to be create new label there, online income, and create. So all of a sudden you can get an idea of what's possible. You can get your income goals, you can write down about starting a podcast, and you can see these things. And this is where it becomes really, really interesting as you track it. So if we want an income of a minimum of 5,000 per month, well, the key activities to achieve you could have in there. You could build a different card for this. You could add down here. But what I think what we're going to do is we're going to build a different card for one of these goals. So we're going to start a list here of 5k. Okay, so I'm going to put that right here. So the key activities to achieve this is just demonstrating what's happening here, the minimum income of 5k. And we're going to add to this. So what kind of things could you do in order to achieve a minimum income of 5k? And I want you to write down then all of the ideas. So maybe you're going to create a suite of packages to sell to new and existing clients. Maybe you're going to look at, what else are you going to look at? Maybe you're going to go increase the average spend of customers. and that can be done quite quickly, and I love that it allows you to correct spellings. What else can we do to help you earn a minimum income of 5k is maybe you want to just become more consistent in your selling and take that seriously, because that is the backbone of your business. So you can see it's starting to come together now, because we know what our 12-week goals are. We've left this free for the key activities and we're listing them here. So what I'd recommend is that you go in and you create another card for starting a podcast, and you write it's the key activity, but what are all of the things that you're going to break down? And this is where it becomes really, 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 really key, because after you have done these for all the things, you can turn around and say, okay, well, what am I going to do first? Okay, so what are my tasks in January? And I would probably say that increasing the average spend, you could drag this over here to January, because that's a task that you want to do in January. And become consistent. Start in January by becoming consistent. And you can always bring that over to February about creating a suite of packages. So straight away, you're starting to pad this out. Straight away, you can archive this list then once you have it, because you know what that relates to, and you know what it is that you're doing. So your key activities for each of your goals, you then allocate into the month in which you want them to achieve. But let's say we then want to break this down even further into the day-to-day tasks. We can go in here. So I'll take it out of here. Just click on there, and then we can create a checklist. And we can create a checklist saying, create January offer, add, and then we can add that item. And then we want to have another checklist. So in create January offer, we can work with influencers to promote add that item. We can add another. We could build a marketing campaign rather, for the new year. And then, you'll see in the training what you need to do for your marketing plan. So all of a sudden you can see what was once, a very broad idea, increase the average spend. All of a sudden you've got a checklist, and all of a sudden you can check off when you've done everything, how you've achieved them. And, you can add due dates to this as well. So you can turn around and say, okay, my due date to have this done is going to be, let's look at November, is going to be 31st of January. And we want to set a reminder 2 days before. Okay, and save. Okay, and you can also, when you're looking at the due dates, you can also enable the calendar power up. You'll get a calendar view of your cards and iCal feed. And that may be an updated feature as well. So this becomes really, really easy, and it becomes a fundamental part of growing your business, because whereas you know yourself, you have notebooks, they wind up everywhere, you don't quite know where they are. But with this, the beauty of it is that absolutely everything is there. Everything is there. So that is what we want to do. Now, that is your card that we have done for goal setting. I hope you've gotten a better idea in terms of how you're going to pad it out, what you can do, and all of the different areas. And you can create as many boards as you possibly want. So we're going to get back in, we're going to go to the home page, and we're going to start creating more boards. So when you click on the little home icon up here, some more boards are going to come. So one of the things that I like to look at is creating a board for your monthly projections and your finances. So let's take a look at that. So we can call this the finances board. Okay, and that is open. Again, we're going to change the background. We'll do it to a nice photo this time, or we'll do it to a photo of money. There is no shame in this. You deserve to be well paid. And, oh, sorry, I'm opening Unsplash there. You deserve to be well paid. So there we have it. So the finances board, this can be something that I would break down normally by month. Okay, so we can have January, we can have due, we can have reminder, and we can have paid. So there's so many ways that you could do this. It's absolutely key. So then you list down all of the invoices that you have sent out in January. So Mary, £5,000 on the 1st. So you've sent out an invoice to Mary of £5,000 on the 1st. And then you have sent out an invoice to John, 2,500 on the 2nd. So these again are just to give you an idea. And we'll finish off with Fiona, 10,000. Fiona's a big spender on the 5th. Okay, so what you can do here is you can have the details of the people that you've invoiced or to invoice. You know, you can have a label on there. So if you want to do it differently, you could have a label. Let's make the green one. We're going to edit that green one, invoiced. You know, so once you've the green one actually probably be better to be paid, wouldn't it? You can have that. So Mary, 5,000 on the first. So Mary's paid that. You can attach and you can go to your computer by clicking on that. Again, you can add your due date to this. So if you invoice Mary on the 1st, what's the due date? So the due date for Mary, you might have a 2-week payment term, but she needs to pay you. And 2 days before that, you are going to have your reminder in place. Excuse me. So all of a sudden it makes it really, really easy. But what happens after the 15th? So you can see there that you've got, imagine we're doing this on the 17th of January. You're probably going to drag Mary to due. And because she's not paid, we're going to have to edit that label. And we're going to have to change it to due. Yeah? Overdue, rather. And again, this might sound like a lot of work, but it just depends on what works best for you. You can use Trello in whatever way that works. And if you've sent them a reminder, you can drag it over to reminder. And once they've paid, you can drag it over to paid. But there's loads of ways that you can do this. And you can create a finance board after January. All you have to do is you can archive them, or you can scroll along over here. You can create another board for February. Yeah? And you can repeat it all for February as well. And maybe you want February over here because you want it front and center and you want it to be the main thing that you're looking at. The options are absolutely endless when it comes to Trello in terms of the things that you can do. But I just wanted to give you an idea of what's possible and what you can look at. So we're going to head back to our boards again, and we're going to head back to our home, and we're going to create my absolutely favorite board when it comes to Trello. I use this day in, day out, and it totally inspires me, and it just makes me feel amazing when it comes to run my business. So the board that I look at is my content creation board. Okay, so I have content creation, and so we're just going to go here. Again, we're going to change the background, and this time I'm going to make it a grey. A bit boring, but we'll do that. So when it comes to content creation, I have some masterclasses on content creation. An easy way for you to create some ideas is to first of all start with what 4 things would your target market have to understand about you in order for them to know you were the right person to work with. So they might have to understand something like, when it comes to me, I'll give you examples of me. They might have to understand that mindset is essential. They might have to understand that you have to become a business owner first. Okay? They might have to understand that you deserve to build a business around your family. And also, what else do you want to understand about me? About bringing your personality in. About bringing you. About bringing the real you and not worrying about what other people have got to say. So when people are choosing to work with me, we want them to get these key concepts in my marketing and in the content that I put out there. So what I can do when it goes to mindset is essential, I can start then writing down ideas of all of the content that relates to that. So I could look at the emotional cycle of change. I could have some motivation quotes. I can have, and it will correct your spelling there like mine. motivating, yeah, motivation quotes. We might look at the loneliness of being an entrepreneur. Oh God, today is not a good day for me when it comes to spelling. The loneliness of being an entrepreneur. Money mindset. Growth mindset is so important. So all of a sudden, you see, once you write these out, you start to get lots of ideas as to what I can do for content. You have to become a business owner first. This one is absolutely essential because you already have the skills in your field, but now you need business skills. And what are those business skills? Well, sales, marketing, finance, HR, PR. There's so many examples. So build a business around your family. We'll talk about like flexibility in the workforce. What else will we talk about? Build a business around your family. I'll share stories of my life as a working mom. And then personality. So what makes me different? I'll talk about the things that I love. The Eurovision, Starbucks, Wagamamas. Now, when you talk about these things, books I read, when you talk about these things, you talk about them from why it should matter to your target market. You don't just talk about it because it's something that you want to talk about. So there we go, my friends. That is an idea about content creation. So all of a sudden you're going to click in here and you're going to go, okay, the emotional cycle of change. So what are you going to do with this? So I could do a blog on this. I could tell my story about the emotional cycle of change. And when I experience it, because I experience it quite a lot, I could tell stories about my customers, tell client stories. I can do a Facebook Live on it. I can do an Insta Live on it. And I can create posts for social media. So what you're starting to see is my social media content is padding itself out. So it's gone from a situation whereby I don't know what I'm talking about, and all of a sudden I've got loads of ideas in here. And what we really, really want is we want you to be able to log into Trello when you get ideas and add them. You know, especially when it comes to content, you become super motivated, so you add those ideas. But what I also want you to be able to do is I want you, when you don't have ideas, when you're having a day where your brain is a bit fucked and you're a bit tired and you're a bit knackered, that you log onto your Trello, you look at your content creation board and you go, okay, I'm having a bad day today, so today I'm going to talk about the emotional cycle of change. Now, motivation quotes is quite a big one, so I want to write out, okay, well, what kind of quotes? So we're going to, you know, is it the fluffy ones? Is it the quite direct ones? And that's what we're going to look at. Now, this one's really good when it comes to motivation quotes because you can actually add a cover photo here. And in adding the cover photo, we are just going to go to upload a cover image. And it's going to go straight to downloads. And I'm just going to upload the first photo that I see. Oh, so that is when I met Joe Malone. So that's my cover. So I'll close that down. And what you see is, especially for when you're creating quotes, is you can create those quotes and you can drag them all into your Trello. So on a day that you're stuck or you're not sure about content, you can go in and you might just become inspired. So I look at that Joe Malone one and so many inspirations come to me. A, the advice that she gave me about running a business with kids. B, the time in my life. Alton was really young. We'd taken the train through to Glasgow. You know, we got in there, they'd all looked after, and that's the way that it worked. So there we go. That is what we are looking at when it comes to building your content. And what I'd like you to do, if you decide to build a content board, is for you to go through absolutely every one of these. You know, first of all, list the 4 concepts. 1, 2, 3, 4. What 4 key concepts do your target market need to understand about you before they can work with you? And then list out loads of ideas when it comes to content in that area and use Trello to go and pad it out. Because what's going to happen is, you know, you're going to wake up one day and you're going to be planning your content for the next month. And we do that in our goals. You know, we can look at our content planning because that would probably become adherent to a key activities to share. So if you're looking to start a podcast, well, you're going to need some content for that podcast as well. So there's loads and loads of ways that you can use this. But let's say on a day where you're not quite sure what content to share, I want you to come in, click on your content creation and go from there. So I hope that gives you an idea of what's possible when it comes to Trello. There's just so many options. It's absolutely unbelievable. But I want you to do is I want you to use it in a way that works best for you, but to be consistent. Once you start to use it, I want you to be mega consistent. That's all for me now. We'll head over to the other presentation where I'll give you some more ideas as well. Okay, bye for now. Thank you very much. Bye.